You played your jiggly wiggly music way too long.
Apparently so. All right, here we are.
Let's
Yeah,
try this
the
again.
jiggly wiggly music. That I like that. That's a new term for it.
Is that what you call somebody's
right
porn?
now, Trent is thinking, "What the f have I got myself into?"
Yeah,
I stopped for this.
that's right.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Well, you should have known if I'm involved in it, it's got to be screwed up somehow.
Oh,
Come
yeah.
on, Crosby, no way.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the wonders of modern technology are already a pain in the ass tonight because with the whole countdown didn't work, but that doesn't seem to stop any of you guys from tuning in. So there you go. Wickham started off with why don't you put him back up on screen now, Wickham? I mean, share him with the world. We're still not sure. Yeah.
Is that like Bam Margera's uncle? Is that what that's supposed to be?
No, that's the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes.
It looks like Don Vito.
It does kind of look like Don Vito.
So Wickham says the reason he is the way he is that he was hit by a hatchback
from a Pinto.
The actual hatchback from a Pinto as a child.
I have a scar from here.
Nice. It does explain a few things.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
I would say on my hand is I've got to do movements and things with it, so to keep it from tightening up.
Not touching that one either.
Holy crap! Why?
On your right hand.
Why? It's. I wonder. I don't even understand. Like, there are times where I think, why do I even do this podcast? Why don't I just stare at the computer, go on a rant like normal, and then post that shit? Like, there's no reason to have everybody else involved. And this is the kind of night that I get that reinforces all of my poor decisions.
Oh, give me a break, Chad. You wouldn't have half fun if we weren't here.
God.
I'm sorry.
No, I am not. Wait, hold on. Lycan says Chad is not in his usual room. How does the blind guy know I'm not in my usual room? I mean, is that some witchcraft shit going on right now here? What's up, Lycan? How do you know this?
Chad,
do you have a thing that's describing it?
Straight up like black screen blind. He may just not be able to see everything. So instead of that kind of whitish beige, there's no thing that kind of looks like a fridge behind you. You're now behind like 1982 trailer park wood paneling.
It is wood paneling.
Shinier. I'll give you credit. That's actually very shiny and nice.
Good artwork.
He's in his mom's basement.
No, there is no basement. I'm in my living room on the other side of the wall where I'm normally at because I didn't want to get. Oh, because he says the reverb and the space sounds different. See, it's his spidey senses. That's why. It's his spidey senses.
Well, are we going to introduce our guest or what?
Yeah. This guy right here. Oh, wait. I'm doing the wrong thing. Hold on. I was trying to highlight Trent and I messed it up. Here we go.
Wickham, what do you got? A mountain lion on your lap?
Oh,
yeah.
Ow. That's Cat.
Yeah, Cat. Creative names,
Well, that's what we call her. Her actual name. Her actual name is Ketchup.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't even know what to say. Trent, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
You're in. What are you in right now? Are you in the rig?
I really am. So we're on our way back from California, and Crosby called this afternoon and said, "Hey, we're going to do this tonight. Can you help us out?" And so we busted ass, got through St. Louis, and I'm in Blue Springs, Illinois, outside of a restaurant inside the trailer.
Nice. So. Very nice. Well, and the reason that we wanted you on the show is not just for your charm and good looks, but because you are a part of the Max Custom Tie Downs crew. And so figured it would be appropriate to have you on the show tonight since we're going to talk about towing and rigs and tie downs and all the dumb things that, quite frankly, I don't know. I'm going to go out on a limb and say 95% of the public does wrong. I think that sounds harsh, but I believe it's the reality.
Well, I have more faith in our hot rodders than you do. Now, I just came back from Sturgis. That's a whole nother group of dumb there.
Right? Well, here's one reason why I can do that percentage so high. We'll start with the first topic we're going to go over. And that is tow rigs in general. Okay. So I can say that because 99.8% of the people that own a 3/4 or 1 ton truck and use it to pull a trailer with a car on it or in it don't need said 3/4 or 1 ton truck. So that is the huge percentage right there. That just gets it because
it looks so cool when you're going on the road and something like that.
Yeah, but nobody has that. That's the problem, Wickham, is that everybody drives stock, stupid trucks that are so giant nowadays. And the reason I say this, I'll sound like a grumpy old man, is because a current half-ton truck, whether it's Toyota, Nissan, Dodge, Ford, or Chevrolet, all of those trucks have the same towing capability as a 1-ton truck had in the mid to late 90s.
True. Yeah.
So the thing about it is there's no need, right? So if in 1995 you didn't need a Kodiak, then you don't need a 3500 today. See? And that's where I go. And so the reason why that matters is the number of people that, either don't get what they want because they go, oh, I can't afford a $100,000 dually, when a $40,000 Chevy pickup would do it for them fine. That sucks, right? Or when people spend $100,000 on a dually and they could have spent 40 or 50 on a half-ton truck, and then spent that money on their race car or their hot rod, it just seems like a foolish expenditure. Plus, they ride like crap. Unless you have changed the landscape of Kansas since I was there last week, there isn't a goddamn hill there. Okay, so I don't know why all you people in the middle of the country think you need 1,000 foot-pounds of torque when you haven't even seen a hill in your life. Okay, like, you live in California, you have mountains, you go up and down the Grapevine, call me. But you know what also goes up and down the Grapevine? Maybe not at speed, but it'll get you there. An 87 square body dually with a big block in it, right? So the reason I say this is not that everybody shouldn't have nice things or whatever, but it's overkill. I mean, the prime example, I laugh at this, but I put together a bunch of photos and what have you, so that we could, talk about some of these items. And this one just like says it all to me and makes me laugh is the crew cab dually Dodge with the Cummins and the whole deal, pulling a CUDA on a twin axle 3,500 pound axle trailer. Like, I mean, you could haul that with a S10 if you had to across town, right? Like, the reality is I could go anywhere in the country, anywhere, with the half-ton version of that, even of that Dodge, okay, and gone up and down the hills. I was waiting for McTaggart. He didn't. Oh, there he goes. There was a little bit of McTaggart going, wait a second. I think you insulted my Dodge.
Not the conclusions, you elf. Hold on. Here's the thing. First of all, that year Dodge, the half-ton V8 was the 4.7. It blew its fucking head gasket. So, in fairness. But
everything had issues that year.
Well, a Hemi-powered half-ton would be just fine.
Yes, 100%. I mean, you drive, McTaggart's wife has a crew cab, Hemi-powered new Dodge truck. It's a beautiful truck. It's a wonderful truck. And it will absolutely 100% tow anything that you would ever put on a typical, 3,500 pound or 5,000 pound axle equipped open trailer.
I've towed more with a half-ton truck than I have with a big truck or a dually.
Yeah.
Me too.
You figure
We
what,
never
39%?
owned a 1-ton truck. In my entire life living with my mom and dad, we had 1-ton truck the entire time, and never had a 3/4 ton. We had half-ton Suburbans always. Hell, my dad hauled my original 2-axle trailer with his Camaro on it behind his 65 El Camino for years. Right?
Mhm.
I mean, Trent,
And
you've been driving a truck professionally, let me use the quotes, for decades. I mean,
Right.
like
that
you
was
see
nice
it
of
all the
you.
time on the road. You see it all the time on the road, right? People that are hauling real stuff with real trucks, and then people that are not hauling real stuff with big trucks.
You see it all out here. So you'll see shit that's pulling trailers that's like, how in the hell did they even get it to move? But then you'll also see over trucked trailers being pulled. The advent of the aluminum trailer kind of really makes it a fair playing field now if you have a half-ton truck, because you're not pulling
Absolutely.
a 7,000-pound steel trailer anymore.
Yeah.
So
Right. Well,
And
go
Trent
ahead,
was
Carl.
saying about the whole Sturgis thing. Uh, Trent and I come from a group of people that would rather not put their bikes on a trailer or in the back of a truck. So that's a whole nother story.
Right. Well, but okay, so use the bikes as the example, right? A 2 or 3 bike trailer it doesn't weigh anything, right? It's
no,
1 axle. I mean, what is the trailer with 3 Harleys on it weighs 2,000 pounds, 2,500 pounds?
it depends on the
Better be 6
motorcycle.
girls in the truck.
Yeah, right. So let's just say that it weighs 3,000 pounds for the sake of argument. Like
That's about right.
legitimately, a Chrysler minivan is rated to tow that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. At
And
Sturgis, it escalates.
right,
Yeah.
absolutely. And the thing about it is, there are always going to be people that are going to get on and go, "Oh, I tow a 48-foot gooseneck." Otis, shut up, stop.
What?
People are going to say, "I tow a 48-foot gooseneck every week." Blah 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 blah. We're not talking about you, so shut up. Right? Like, those are not the people we're talking about. We're talking about the guy that goes to 6 or 8 or 10 or even 12 events a year, right? And has a 3/4 or 1-ton truck that never does anything else except once a month takes him to an event. I mean, that seems like a poor financial decision, because here's the why. I can rent a brand new Chevrolet, Dodge, or Ford crew cab, diesel, 3/4 or 1-ton for $400 for 4 days with a gooseneck hitch, ready to tow all of the stuff right here in town. And that's considerably cheaper than the payment on that truck.
My
And it's
pers-
brand new every time I take it.
my personal favorite is the guy sitting in the parking lot with the crew cab dually with the extended hitch with the sway bar mounts on it, that the ball is rusted solid, hadn't had
Yes.
a trailer on it in 25 freaking years, that
Yes.
trips like 9 people.
Yes. And I
Uh,
am so diehard against everybody driving around with hitches in the back of their truck. Like, it just pisses me off. That's the worst thing. And little known fact, I actually have 3 buddies that are in the insurance industry, and insurance companies are starting to argue with and deny claims if you leave the trailer hitch in your truck and are rear-ended, because on some of these trucks, it's totaling the truck because it's bending the hitch in and pulling the frame rails in. Everybody looks at it and goes, "Oh yeah, that'll teach the hatchback from rear-ended me in my truck." But you're just screwing up your shit even worse. And and the insurance companies are starting to go on about that, apparently. So that's an interesting one. But
Trent, what new stuff do you guys have out?
for towing or track, well, we've got the tube track. I don't think the world's seen it.
I
It's
have, but I don't think the world has yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that product, especially if you have a deck over trailer, and all the junk 2-inch by 6 and 8-inch wide deck trailers out there. It's a pretty neat piece. It comes in 8-foot lengths. It's 3/16 wall, square rounded tubing, or it's got the rounded edge tubing, and we laser keyways in it, and then we made basically, for lack of a better description, a trolley that clicks in and clicks out of it. So you have 4-inch adjustable increments on it.
Oh, that's cool.
12,000 pound rating on the hook. When we pull tested the track, it gave up at 37,000. So you literally,
I'm going to pull it up right now because I was going to get to your product stuff a little bit later, but we'll jump into that.
Yeah,
now.
but we'll go off on a complete tangent. He's been driving.
Well, no, that was next step of the deal. So
we've met, remember?
I know, but I have a whole plan for tonight's show. I have a list. I have everything, pictures, all the stuff.
I've known you a long time. You've never had a plan.
I have everything set here, except for the fact that tube track is like the one thing on your site that is the hardest thing to find. Here we go. So the it's like E-Track, except, or that usefulness, but it's in a steel box tubing. So are you expecting that customers will weld this into their trailer builds so that they've got it in there? So this is a buy it and use it for the initial fabrication of the trailer.
Oh, that's freaking cool.
You can also retrofit that. There's a shitload of wood deck trailers out there, and there's no place to really grab a hold of anything except for the 4 D-rings that came with it.
Right.
So this you can take and run a skill saw down there, take a plunge saw, cut the ends of your board, pull that out, lay it down in there, weld it to the cross members, and go start hauling.
And that's I have a wood deck 40-foot gooseneck lowboy. That's my car hauler trailer, and this is the kind of thing that I would add to it.
This is for a guy like you, though, because you use that 40-foot wood deck trailer for all kinds of projects around the farm.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're sliding skids on that or whatever, a surface-mounted track or a D-ring, you're going to catch it, rip it, tear it up, whatever.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The skid goes right over the top of it. You don't notice it's there.
Yeah.
So
that's a cool setup. There's a lot of cool stuff that you guys have that is specifically, related to making things easier, though, right? So you guys have lashing winches, which I'll show how those work here in a minute. But you also, for those guys that do have a enclosed trailer or whatever, you have traditional E-Track, and the Versati, what's this stuff rated at?
All right. So let's start over first. We don't do E-Track. I hate E-Track. I don't even want E-Track mentioned. That stuff.
Right.
Shit. It was invented to put in the back of a semi to put logistics bars in to hold freight, i.e. watermelon, dog food, whatever. And then all of a sudden they decided to throw it on the floor of a trailer, and away they went. So when you tie down your car to E-Track, you're actually pulling on the light side of it or the weak side of it. Crosby, how many times you ever seen E-Track where the fitting has rolled in it and then it pops right out? That's it's the weak side.
Yep.
So what you're looking at there is the aluminum Versati track, or as everybody calls it, airline track, because everybody's flown on an airplane and that's what the seats are held in place with. Same principle. Theirs is made for them. We actually have our own draw dies, and we have this stuff made for us, and then we finish machine it. So we have it done in Canada.
And what's the rating on it as far as weight?
So here's the tricky part with the Versati track is that it's only going to be good as well as it's mounted. So that being said, a guy that grabs a hold of a handful of drywall screws and throws it in his enclosed trailer, it's not going to be worth shit. But if you go in, hit the cross members, put a good backer underneath the floor, each one of those pull points can turn into a 6,000 pound pull.
Really?
Gotcha. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I thought was what I remembered from talking to Colin about it. But the that brings up one of my big points is if you are looking at building a trailer or outfitting your trailer, like my big trailer and my little trailer, I still have a little 2-axle 7,000 pound rated Carson trailer as well. That's got 28 years old and it's still great. I mean, it works like a champ, right? Needs some love, but still good trailer.
Right.
There are a lot of things that you can do to upgrade your trailer, but one of the biggest things that I think people fail at is when they get in their head that they're going to do a bunch of cool stuff to the trailer, but then they don't take the time to actually mount the stuff correctly. So it may look cool, but it doesn't really, work worth a shit because none of the stuff is actually heavy duty enough. So, like, for example, these weld-on D-rings, you guys have them on the, on the site. You can get these all over the place, but if you don't weld these on right, they're of no use. And if you don't pay attention to the rating on them, there are a lot of generic ones out there that have no rating on them that are cheap Chinese junk, and I wouldn't trust them to hold a motorcycle on the trailer.
Well, Trent, that one's a forged ring, isn't it?
Yes.
This is, yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. A lot of those ones you get at the regular stores are just a bent piece of steel.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty much what you see for $5 on Amazon. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a
well, yeah, you want it to be a forged unit, but look at this. So, like, you get this one, and this is your normal surface mount D-ring, right? You put a couple of carriage bolts through there, and you're good to go. As long as whatever you bolt it to is worth a damn.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, that's the big deal.
Don't use the grade 2. Don't use the grade 2 carriage bolt either.
Right.
Yeah.
Put a grade 5 or better in it.
Yep. And
unfortunately, for everything we do, a lot of it relies on common sense. I mean, I can tell you that you don't want to take and tie your bulldozer down to that lightweight ring there to the right, but if you go home and do that, I can't stop you. I mean, it's kind of a common sense.
Yep.
So when you mount track, it's the same thing. You have to look at it from a common sense approach. If you have a cross member, most trailers are built, the cross members are real close together where the axles are at, and then they start spreading out as you get towards the tongue and then as you get towards the dovetail. So if you go, some of those trailers, they spread them out 16 or 18 inches on a cross member.
Right.
If you only pick up a cross member every 18 inches and you hook in something in the middle of that, it's going to taco that track and probably pull it right off the trailer.
Yeah.
So you have to put backers in it. You have to, a lot of common sense.
Well, and in that example, let's say you had you were going to put down a track and you had a trailer that only had cross members every 2 feet. Then at those 2 foot marks, you should mount it to the cross member. And in between, you should add a backing plate under the wood deck or whatever in order to spread that load, right?
Oh, absolutely. And try to tie that backer into the cross members if you can. I mean, a lot of people can't weld, and I get that. But you can have things bent and drill holes and put bolts in things too. So every little bit that you do can help. I mean, if you have a buddy like Crosby, you can go over there, man, and you can weld all that stuff in between the cross members, and then it's all part of the chassis, and you can haul whatever. But like I said, common sense in here. Just try to make it as robust as you can.
Yep.
Well, and I wanted to show this. You guys call this thing the monkey face, which makes me laugh. But this thing is genius, and I need to get some of these for my trailer. And I have made similar things in the past, but this is so easy to just get this. If you have a trailer that has the steak pocket style holes on the sides, you know that those things are not a perfect square. You have to use something that's tapered to go through there. This thing is awesome because this goes in that steak pocket hole, and then you can connect your ratchet strap right to it, or one of the winch mounts as well, so that you can put a strap directly into, and it solid mounts it, and that goes either in the straight hole or this curved one that's the smile. And those things
That's
are
pretty
awesome.
cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, these things are really good. Let me look up that winch mount, because that thing is cool as hell that goes in there.
The winch is cool, but it's also a pain in the ass too.
Is
lashing
it?
winches are great when you have just a little bit of. Let me start over. Lashing winches are great and they work good. They just don't have a lot of take-up room on the spool. So if you have a 20-foot, 2-inch strap, then it's only going to be able to wind so much around the mandrel on that thing, and then you have this big wad of material that you've got to do something with.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah, but if you take the slack out of it and just tuck it up like we normally do, it won't be that bad.
Yeah. And then you'll be most of the time though, that's the guy going down the road that's got 30 feet of it flipping behind the trailer.
Right. Well, I have to say that, one of the things to me is, knowing what you should use to tie down your car. So,
right.
Along that, line, I got a couple of examples here. So, using the Dodge again, he's doing it wrong. And the reason that I say that, it isn't just about the fact that he's got the wrong truck. It's that he also has yellow straps. Those are not for tying cars down. Don't do that. Don't be this guy. That's a beautiful car. And it's a convertible CUDA of all things. Like, tie it down better than that, That is just not the smart way to go. The wheel nets,
there you go.
Those things are good. I don't do this normally. This is not normally how I tie down a car, but this is a really good way when you have a car that has limited clearance. So in front of the tire over here, this is one end of this net is connected to the track. It goes over the top of the tire, goes through a loop here, and then back to the ratchet, which makes it easy because this thing isn't up under the car where it's hard to, get at and do. And it holds the car to the trailer just like it would be going down the road.
So let me interject here.
Yeah.
This is probably one of the best ways to hold a car down. So another thing that I deal with a lot, probably 75% of the people that I deal with are hot rod guys and race car guys. So as you start to get older, and one day you'll be there, young man, but it gets real tough to climb underneath the backside of a 63 Impala and throw an axle strap around a rear end. I don't care what anybody says, on a 100-degree day, that's a mile and a half away. So this setup here, man, especially on an open trailer, an older guy that can't physically climb around under cars anymore, this is awesome for him. Because he doesn't
because you still end up with a car being held down really, really well also. Like, and plus, it's not just
you got to remember too that on a traditional set of tie downs, when everybody's tied down their cars the way we've done it for 100 years, 2 in the back coming out, 2 in the front going forward. Whenever we do stuff, we try to do it for worst case scenario. Remember our friends down at Rocket Wheel, their double trailer that they had, and they got run off the road by the semi and it hit the tree? That's a perfect example of worst case scenario. They drove both of the cars out of the trailer. They did not come out of the trailer. It ripped the box off the trailer.
Right.
But the cars did not. They got a fender on the fender on the Camaro, I think it was, got a bent in it. One of them, the front car got a bent fender, and that was it on top where it crushed down on top of it.
Right.
So if you do something like this, all four corners of that car are nailed to the trailer, not just the two straps holding it back. So you've doubled your chances of that thing staying put.
Right.
So, like I said,
well,
as long as you can get your hands up under the fender to put that net on, it's by far the best way to do it. This would
now,
be my second.
I was going to say, now this is similar,
Right.
obviously, in how it works. The difference in this example is that the ratchet, you need to be able to get at it because it's going to be here. But you could use one that went through a ring and along just like it was on the wheel net, right?
Oh, absolutely. If you have a Roadster, if you have a Jeep, anything with an open wheel, all you have to do is just go over it just like that, and you're golden. What I like about this system is that if you do have to run it through an idler, it doesn't care if it's a 20-inch, a 37, a 15-inch. You know, it
right.
doesn't matter diameter. Where the net is specifically made for a tire size, so it's
right.
This is
because the wheel nets, you make those. I'm going to say custom because you call and order them based on what you're doing, right? Exactly.
No universal there.
But this one works as any strap, and these little rubber doodads here are what fit in between the tread to keep them from sliding off the tire.
True, and that also works on a road race car too. So if you have a flat face tire, it will go into your Hoosiers. It will grip them. It will not hurt the Hoosier. You know, it will not hurt any race tire. We get a lot of guys that are scared to death that little rubber nipple is going to, murder their tire. And rest assured, it's going to be just fine. But it locks down into the tire, rubber on rubber. It's a really good bond. So, like I said, that one there's bulletproof.
Now, this is a more traditional setup. This one has the axle straps sort of built in because of this added sliding ring.
Yep.
There's been a lot of discussion over the years, and I know you guys have put out videos on this, to cross or not to cross, right? And it turns out there's no difference. There's no difference. It doesn't matter one way or the other, right? Do it, whatever makes you happy, right?
I have done both.
Yep.
It depends on your trailer. It depends on how your trailer pulls. And it's at the end of the day, it's your shit. Do it the way you want to do it. Quit listening to everybody else.
Right.
The only downside to crossing them is if you ever have a failure, it will pull it to the taunt side. So if your 1953 Ford pickup truck running board is about a half inch off of the inner fender of your trailer, there you go.
Right.
Hey, was that directed at me?
No. There was a certain pickup truck that got hauled to a big show up in Detroit they have once a year, and they opened the door and seen what happened and just shut the door and left. So.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, what's your old saying, Chad, about towing a car?
Which one? I have a bunch.
When you first get in the truck and trailer.
Yeah. So my deal is this. This goes along with what Trent's talking about. You never fill the tow rig before going and picking up your truck and picking up your trailer. You go home, you hook up your trailer, you load it, you do all those things, and then you go to the gas station. Okay? Every time. Because that way, when you drive that thing, whether it's 10 minutes or 30 minutes, by the time you get to the gas station, all your shit is jiggled around and it found its happy home, right? And while you're putting fuel in that thing, you can check all the straps while your kid, your wife, or whatever goes and gets all the drinks and the ice and all those things. If you get everything you need for the trip before you go home and load the trailer, then you get on the road and it's 4 or 5 or 6 hours before you know that your junk has been bouncing around in the trailer. and it is just way cheaper insurance to load it, go down the hill, go down the road, go down to the next truck stop, and then double check everything. And if you tie a car down and it doesn't need a click or two 20 miles later, I'll kiss your ass on Main Street, because that's just not the case 99% of the time. So, and it also, especially if you're somebody that's crossing straps on a solid axle car, if you put them under there and you think they're great and they're on, yes, and like Crosby says, they're inching together. Even if you put them on the outside of the leaf springs or the outside of the shock brackets or whatever, they're still going to find their home, and they're going to need 1 or 2 clicks on them. Okay, so make sure that you do not fill. That has always been my mantra. We do it all the time. And let's be clear here. The people that are like, oh, well, Chad, you don't go racing that much. You don't do. Dude, I haul a trailer more than 99% of the people that will ever watch this. Okay. I mean, it may be going to Home Depot. It may be hauling a car. It's usually, not usually, always something that doesn't run. Okay. I knew Crosby loved that one.
What he's saying is that he runs a winch more than everybody else does too.
Dude. But I'm telling you, it's little stuff like this that really does matter. And you know, Trent's talking about being the guy with 30 feet of strap hanging out going down the road. What's funny about that is the number of people that I know who have finally got off their dead ass and bought a set of Macs, right? And then these little doodads over here, right? These little straps right here, okay? People put those around them in their bag, okay? Like in the carrying bag, which is all great, right? When you're storing them. But then they don't realize that's also to hold the tail when you wrap it up and put it on top of the strap.
Really? That's what that's
the Velcro
for?
around. Dude, I am telling you, I know. It's genius. It's just that
Man,
people,
I thought that was for storage.
I'm not kidding you. I guarantee you that Trent has heard that a bunch of times.
Oh, yeah. What are those for? What are those?
Yeah.
What do you do? There's more of those strap wraps on campers, holding shit hoses and garden hoses and airlines, air hoses.
I like that. I can see that. I can totally see that, using it to hold the extension cord. Oh my God. That's the most expensive cord wrapper I've ever seen.
Hey, they're $6. We got a bunch of them.
Yeah, right? Hey, here's the other deal, though. And we're talking about Macs not because they pay us or do any of that stuff. In fact, my Macs that I have, Daphne paid full boat for them with the discount from doing the FM3 road trip. Everybody that participated got them. And Colin got mad at her when he found out that she had ordered them. But she got them for me as a gift. They're amazing. I am a firm believer in buying good straps. And if you look at them, you can buy strap sets from $175 to $300, let's say, right? Yep. And the thing about it is, you might go, man, $175 or $300. Dude, I spent $1,500 to $2,000 on ratchet straps in my life before I bought a set of Macs. Because every time one goes to shit and you throw it off the side of the freeway because it won't ratchet, or it cuts because it's the worst webbing ever. The other thing that we're probably not supposed to say, but if you cut a strap, you send it back to Max, they will re-web, right, for you. They'll put a new one if you've got a hook that's trying to rip through because it rubbed on something or whatever. And while you're there, if that hook happens to be bent up or whatever, they'll fix that. They get everything. So when you get it back, it's like brand new and it works lovely. And you
Yeah,
don't
but
have
what
to.
that $300 set of straps? How much is the car worth that you're strapping to the
Totally.
trailer?
Agree.
Bingo.
Agree. I mean, in the case of
if
that
that set
Cuda,
of
it's worth
straps is
$7
the make
million.
or break deal to your situation, you're doing something wrong.
Well, it's the same as me always talking about guys with engine diapers. They spend 10 grand on a set of heads and a new turbo, but they bitch about $179 diaper from Jegs. Like, come on, man. You know, so it
Yeah, but
just
then
doesn't make
it's
sense.
dragging down the return road
Right.
because they don't have it strapped on right.
So,
Well,
so let's talk about weird things that get towed. Okay. So Wickham, how many times have you seen? I'm going to use the term colorful tie down techniques on custom trucks that come rolling into a mini truck show.
Oh God,
Oh God,
that is
you had to go there, didn't you?
that's one of my biggest things. I mean, I in my early days, I will confess, I was guilty of it. I mean, I did some sketchy shit pulling the truck on a trailer, but I meant looking back now was fortunate enough. I can't say I did have one accident. I meant that wasn't partially my
One?
fault. Yeah, um, towing a vehicle,
What?
but I meant just
What?
it happened once.
It happened this one time? How about you, McTaggart? How many? I mean, you don't tow your stuff usually. You're usually driving your stuff, right?
No, I'm very adamant that unless it's absolutely and utterly dead, or there's a reason why it can't be driven, I
Right.
drive it.
Yeah.
My history actually, and it's very, very loosely connected. I used to rig trains. When I was in the military, one of my little side hustles was I knew how to rig trains and do all that. So I have yellow straps, but my yellow straps are the kind you lift and secure sea containers with. They're
Well,
not
and
your
yellow
hard.
straps are the right choice when you're going side to side over a truck that has stake pockets on the side or a trailer with stake pockets. 100% the right thing in some circumstances.
And
Just not the right thing when you're tying down a car.
you say that, but it's do what I got. My
Right.
car gets towed maybe. Hell, I think I've towed anything I've owned maybe 5 times ever.
I was going to say, yeah, your junk runs, which is weird, but yes.
Yeah. Okay. Keep talking there. Where's the 55 at?
No, my junk never runs. That's why I'm saying
I
it.
know. Well, we tried.
Yeah, but you don't take it anywhere unless you move. So
But
True.
in any case, regardless of strap, regardless of what it is, I'm a big fan of crossing under, but I'm also a big fan of, like you said, shake it down. After a few miles, stop, check your shit because it shakes, it jiggles. I don't care how, if you put all your weight into clicking that last click on the ratchet, go 5 miles and come talk to me and let me know.
Yeah. Well, even big rigs, you go down I mean, I live on major interstates, right? So I'm on the major interstates every day watching big trucks go down the road. And you might have a truck that's got 15 straps going over whatever the load is. And there'll be one that is obviously loose compared to the others because it is just dancing and singing and, whatever. And that guy that put that on there is a pro. I mean, I'm going to use the term loosely because now truck drivers, there are not as many pros as there used to be. But
if it doesn't have a
which is a
clutch
sad
pedal, you're
state of
not a
affairs.
pro.
There you go.
I love where your head's at. I wish that was the only thing that made the difference. But yeah.
Well, that's the first clue that you're
Right.
not a pro. You have to have an
Hey.
automatic and a backup camera. You're not a freaking truck driver.
Oh, a backup camera? Get out of here. Is that a thing on a rig now?
Yep.
Oh my God.
I'm not
I
They got
approve
them
of
on
a
the
backup
corners of the
camera.
trailers.
I approve of a backup camera on, Joe Blow that tows his race car to the races once a month, has a 36-foot gooseneck and needs the help. He doesn't drive it every day. I approve of that, right? But
I'm not
if you
saying
drive
it's not a
rig
great
every
thing and
day,
some people need it. I'm saying if you have to have it, you might need a few more lessons.
correct.
Who is it that has
Be
the?
careful because you're getting dangerous. One of my favorite arguments, which is stronger licensing requirements.
Yep.
Oh, I agree. I
Was it
agree.
GM or Ford that has a thing where it's hands-free backup?
That's
Like
Ford.
Ford.
Yeah, it's
Ford.
Ford.
I
And
think that's the
here's the
reason
deal.
Ford doesn't
You're
talk-
gonna laugh at this. The Ford one. So I wrote a deal, and Ford contacted me about it, one of their marketing companies, because the original commercials for that trailer backing up system were all women driving them. And I said, y'all are doing a bad deal disservice, because the majority of the trucks they were showing it were a stock trailer or a horse trailer. And I'm like, those ladies know how to back up a trailer. And oh,
Yes,
by
they
the
do.
way, some of them are short and they're way good at it. Okay. Even with a
Mhm.
dually. That's a bad idea. You are going to alienate your customer group right there. And
Yeah, try to back up some horsey girl's truck and trailer for her, and she'll show you what for.
oh yeah, in a heartbeat. And I grew up in an agricultural, community. That's, I mean, I would guess that. I mean, I grew up in an area where there were a jillion people with dualies and they used them all the time. But I would guess that 60 or 70% of the people that drove a dually every day where I grew up were women,
Hmm.
because
Ford
they were the
built.
ones hauling the trailer and going and doing all that stuff all day.
All the horsey girls out here in California, and I know that's probably not the right term, but
No, but
they all drive their own rigs. They
yes.
hook those things up,
Oh, yeah.
and all of them I know have never crashed their trucks,
Right.
never jackknifed them, and
Yeah.
never hit anything.
Because they respect how they work and they respect what's in the trailer.
Because they don't
Yeah.
want to get their asses handed to them by all the guys saying, "Oh, it's a girl, she can't drive."
Right.
That's
So
only-
they do it that much better.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
The
you also
Ford
could be
backup
hearing,
thing was
like,
built for the boat ramp.
Right.
oh, the whole
Lawn chairs in a cooler, man.
so
Dude, if you ever go to the boat launch on Sunday or Friday afternoon when they're putting it or taking out, it is entertaining as entertainment gets.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, just pick a body of water, get a cooler and a chair, and just laugh your ass off. That's what
We have
no.
scorecards,
Yeah.
1 to 10.
There is a guy that
Dude.
does that. He gets a group of people. He goes down to the local boat
Yep.
ramp on the weekends, and
He has a
last time I
YouTube
saw,
channel. Yeah.
He
Yep.
had a whole bus, like a school bus full of people that went down there with the horns and the clappers and all that shit, cheering people on.
So it's
yeah.
funny you say that, though, because there's all these guys that do the boat ramp videos in Florida. So and Florida's real big about, we are the boating capital of the world and all that. Yeah, you're also the retard capital of the world when it comes to a boat ramp. I've literally never seen anything like
I'm
it.
not sure,
So
but I don't think that was politically correct.
It is, because
Yeah.
that's not for
The
The
special
views
views
people.
expressed
That's for
Brad
idiots.
Reynolds.
Yeah.
I think some
So-
handicapped people would take offense to that.
No, that's those
Not the
people are
term.
special
I
needs.
mean, being
That-
tied in with the boat people.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
So I was talking to a guy I
Wait a
know
minute.
in Florida who shall go remain unnamed, and I said, "Do you actually launch your boat like this?" And he goes, "Yeah. Why?" And I'm like, "You're an idiot." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I go, "I can't even believe this is okay." So let's say I'm the guy. I back up my truck and trailer with my boat into the water, float said boat. Maybe somebody's in the boat. Maybe. Okay, let's just say my wife is in the boat or
I have
my
a weird
kid.
feeling I know where this is going.
Okay, and then I get out and then I hand them things and they back the boat up next to the dock and then they sit there and there's a bunch of hemming and hawing and all these things. Oh, I forgot my shit in the truck and oh this and oh that. And you go through all this rigmarole. Then I pull the truck and trailer out, and then I get out, and then I forget something, so I got to go back to the truck. Then I walk down the dock, and then I get in my boat, and then I drive it away from the dock, and then somebody else comes and starts the whole process again. In that amount of time where I grew up in California, we would have launched 3 boats. Okay? Because you have one person in the boat, one person in the truck, or all the passengers are in the boat, one guy in the truck. All the shit's already in the boat. You back the boat in the water, the boat comes off the trailer and drives away. Drive it away. Okay? And then pull the truck out, park it, come back. Your buddy pulls up to the dock, you hop in the boat and drive away. Like, there is no docking the boat. It ain't a marina. What the hell, you idiots? I mean, it is like mind-boggling to me that people think this is okay. Like, seriously, half the people can put a boat in the water at a boat ramp there as could put it in anywhere else that anybody had half an ounce of sense. But
And the other one
hashtag
about
Florida,
the
you know.
boat people, if you're a guy that actually dumps your boat in the water more than once a year, 0 to 100, if you don't have your vent tube vented up to the top of your bed, you're a moron.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
I don't know
Oh,
why my
Texas-
dip keeps taking a shit and it's full of water. Oh, I wonder why.
Right.
Yeah, East Texas. If you're not on your game at the boat dock, I mean, you are catching hell from the fishermen. They're
Oh,
either
100%.
moving out or coming in. And
Oh, yeah.
depending on what it is in the area, is like you'll get run out of there if you're not like on your shit. Like drop the
Right
boat.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're holding them
Oh,
up.
100%. Wait, it's bad when a bass fisherman in Texas can all by himself can launch his boat, park his truck, and get back in it in less time than it took the guy in Florida to just back his trailer in the water. You know, I mean, come on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those guys fishing for redfish, going out there at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh yeah, they're
Those
not
guys
messing around.
Those guys are lined up like get this shit done and out of the way.
Oh yeah. Well, okay, so now talk other trailer stuff I want to talk about.
Can I dispel some myths?
Absolutely. You can
Go
chime
ahead.
in anytime you want on anything you want to.
All right. Yes, at Max, we stand behind what we do. So if you buy a Max product and it comes unsewn, call me. We'll send you a new one out instantly.
Right.
If you ever, I wanted to get back to the rewebbing deal. If you have a set of straps and you just need the webbing done on the long running end, sometimes it's cheaper just to call us and let us sell you a new one. That way you don't have to ship me all that stuff because that's on you.
Oh, right.
And you got to pay for shipping.
Right.
So sometimes you call me, I'll sell you the long running end. It'll save you a lot of money and a lot of time. If you're handy with tools and you do have that piece of webbing between your ratchet and hook, call me. I'll sew you a new one and send it. You take a 3/4 inch wrench and a 3/4 inch socket and take it apart, put it back together, and you're good to go. So it saves you a lot of money that way just by buying new.
Right.
So your downtime is going to be a lot less too. Call me.
Right.
It's on its way to you versus sending and then we're not playing that FedEx game.
Right.
So that part there, like I said, we'll always stand behind what we sell. If you loan them to somebody, which I highly suggest, you always want to loan your Max straps to your kids or your next door neighbor or some guy just walking down the street because they never come back. So you'll have to buy more.
I knew he was going there.
If you run over the ratchet or your buddy drags it down the highway and he didn't know what that spark was, but when you go and stop for fuel, you realize it was the ratchet that was for the other car that's following you and it drug itself to death, we'll sell you parts. We're the only strap company in the country that will sell you spare parts for your shit, which is unheard of.
Oh, yeah.
So,
well, you're the only one in the country that you can actually work on the product too, though. The other ones are all just bent together, and that's it.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly.
And and my last thing on that is there's a reason why Harbor Freight strap is $9.
Yep.
So put your $300,000 hot rod in there, and good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't follow too close.
I want
No
to
shit.
talk about a couple other things that I want everybody to chime in on what they think are like the best additions to a trailer and towing setup. And so I'll start. These are the factory like ramps that come on a trailer like my open trailer. Um, and they suck because they're way too short. You want these. Like you want to
Yep.
buy aluminum 6 foot long ramps. They're God's gift. They don't weigh nothing. You can put a house on them, and they're really long, so your low stuff will roll right up on the trailer, which makes it really, really nice. So, in my opinion, aluminum ramps. And the other thing that everybody should have is what I refer to as ease lift. It's generic term, but a weight distributing hitch. Um, 99% of people should have one and don't. And in a lot of cases, you're towing more than you're legally, or sorry, more than your truck is rated for if you don't have one of these, because the weight rating on your hitch, uh, not in all cases, but in a lot of cases, is calling for one of these. So a weight distributing hitch setup like these is invaluable. It makes especially if you're going to be smart and have a half-ton truck, dude, this makes it tow like a dream. Get one. They're cheap too. It's like $200 for one of these setups. I mean, you can spend 350 or 400, but the reality is 200 to 225 buys you a really nice setup that'll work great.
Well, there's
Well,
some
What
other
do you
stuff in there too.
other things they should add?
the biggest thing that most people screw up on towing is not having the trailer level and not knowing where to position the car. A lot
Yep.
of people push the car all the way forward because they want the weight forward, which is all neat and cool. One of the biggest reasons is you can't get a good tie down on the car unless you do something like the webbed uh, straps on the tires. But sometimes you get them too far forward and it just eliminates all the good purposes of putting that car on the trailer. Then you
Oh
see
yeah.
people have them backed onto the trailer and you just want to get off the
Oh
freeway.
yes. You remember? I mean, generically speaking, you want 60% in the front half of the trailer and 40% in the back half. I mean, that's generic, but there you go. The way I always tell people is if you're loading a car on the trailer, um, when you get the car up there on the trailer and you start pulling it forward, when the back of your truck starts to settle, that's what you want. Like that's where you're at. An inch or two of sag on the truck, and the weight should be pretty darn good right there. And then if
Yeah.
you've got a weight distributing hitch, you jack it up to where the truck's 2 inches higher than it was without the trailer on it. Put your spring bars on, lower it back down. That thing will be dead nuts level, and it'll be perfect going down the road.
And spend money on a
Weight
good
distribution's everything.
hitch.
Yep.
And every time you hook it up, walk around, check all the lights on it.
Thank
Yes.
you.
No,
That was the
and
word.
everybody gets surprised they get pulled over because the lights aren't working. Duh,
Yeah.
did you
I
check?
thought it did. Well, did you look at the connection? Did you make sure the connection's locked in place? Hey, is there a secondary secure system? It is my biggest pet peeve. For some reason, around where I live, lights are either a afterthought or simply weren't even part of the fucking equation because there are many trailers, little small like lawnmower trailers, no
Yeah.
light whatsoever. Oh, you'll see the glow from the truck's taillights. No,
Right.
no. Lighting to me is my biggest pet peeve because as it is, a trailer already has a disadvantage. Your
Absolutely.
your lighting's low, your lighting's difficult to see unless it's at night, and even then, there's things going against you. At least use what you have.
Right. Agreed. I
And
definitely agree on that.
and this is not a dig on Chad, even though
You're wanting it to be.
it kind of is.
Here
But
it comes.
You can.
if you, we've already had our go around about this one. But in the truth of the matter, if you borrow somebody's trailer, bring it back the way you got it.
Mhm.
Yes.
Because
Well, and
there's a lot of people out there that will not, by any means, loan their shit because they've been bitten really bad.
Oh yeah.
But
Well, and the wiring is like the number
oh
one
my
thing that
god,
comes back. You loan
yep.
somebody a trailer, they cut connectors off. The one thing I will say that is wonderful about new trucks is that new trucks typically
Well,
have
remember when we hooked
both
the trailer to
connectors.
the Suburban? You went and got that deal that
Yeah,
plugged in
the
from
adapter.
the
Yeah,
auto parts store.
yeah, exactly. Hold on, let me let Otis out.
So you don't have to go out there and rip half the wiring out of your new truck to put a trailer on it, and make sure the hitch balls are right and
Secured.
don't skimp. I mean, if you're going to
And don't
tow it
lose.
and you're going to take your life, I mean, your name's on that shit.
Uh-huh.
I mean, there's a liability out there. It's not just that truck and trailer. It's other people out there on the road with you.
I only borrow because I don't have a need to own a trailer myself, but it's that same thought process. This is not my trailer. This is somebody else's trailer.
Right.
If something's going wrong with it, it's on to me to figure it out first, or if it happened after the fact, tell them.
Yep.
The one I always use, I use my wife's uncle's trailer often. We know what it does and doesn't have. The winch is kind of a 50-50 gamble. I know that.
Right.
Most of
That's
them are.
every winch.
Yeah,
That's every winch. Yeah.
But the lighting is perfect. The insurance, if you're going to borrow a trailer, you might want to look at that. I don't know how that works in every state, but here there's a thing.
Yeah.
You might want to make sure you actually put the tag on the license plate. You know, stupid, simple shit that you would do for any other thing, do it to the trailer.
There was
California, we have permanent tags now on most of the
Right.
trailers, so that's not an issue. But
Yeah.
insurance is an issue, and registration on the trailer is a big thing when you're going from state to state. Because you get
is.
pulled, and Trent will back me up on this one, you get pulled over by a DOT guy, and you don't have the paperwork on that trailer, your ass is getting fucking impounded.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
a whole new level of bad.
There
New
was-
Mexico. Let me tell you how I know.
I wasn't even going to put that down, but that was the exact state I was thinking about.
Oh,
And if
I
you
know.
got an enclosed trailer going across New Mexico,
You're out of luck.
check your lottery tickets that day, because if you make it all the way across the state and you don't get pulled over, I don't care if it's just your trailer. Anything
Yeah.
over 10,000 pounds in New Mexico.
Yep.
It's
There was
a
one
problem.
time in Texas that you bought your trailer tag and you could swap it between your little 4x8 utility trailer and your boat trailer and your camper trailer. I did that one time. It's like I bought a tag for, I think it was $7 or some shit like that. And
Right.
whenever I hate to say it, borrowed someone's trailer, because half of the times they never had a tag or got stolen or ripped off or something like that. I had my own tag to put on it, and away I went.
Yeah, you don't want to do that in California.
No, or New Mexico.
No. I'm sure Texas changed that law since then, but
Probably. Well,
yeah, and if it's only
because-
$7 and you got two trailers, you should have two tags. I'm
Right.
sorry.
Well, and here's the other thing though, licensing, like driver's license, you also need to pay attention to that. So I got caught up in a completely unexpected situation moving to Texas, because since I own a dually, I cannot get an exempt license in Texas because I own a dually. If
Really?
I had a F350 or a single rear wheel F450, I can get an exempt weight rated or CDL, whatever you want to call it, where I don't have to do the logbook because it is a dually.
I mean, restricted.
No, so in California, for example, if you have a big rig with a race trailer, or you have a toter home and a stacker, or you have a dually and a big giant gooseneck trailer, you can get your Class A license, but you don't have to do a logbook because it's not for commercial. It's private use.
Yeah, that's
But
called
you'd still
a restricted CDL.
okay. There you go. So in Texas, it's called an exempt CDL because you are exempt from having to use
The
a logbook.
electronic.
Right, but that is not possible if you have a dually. I cannot get that license. So my trailer, which is a triple axle, triple 7,000-pound axle, so it's a 21,000-pound trailer, puts me into that category. So I had to derate my trailer down to 16,000 so that I don't need the CDL, because the only way to legally get the license in Texas is to get a farm license, and it's only good 200 miles away from your home. And so it doesn't do me
Pretty
any good
bad when
hauling anymore.
California makes more sense than Texas does.
In a bunch of ways.
Very-
A bunch of ways. Yep.
I
Licensing
can't even
is
believe that
screwy.
just came out of my mouth, but
I know.
I've seen farm truck tags all over the country, out of states. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
So,
Well, and they will. Well, it's not the farm truck, it's the farm license for me to drive. So the farm truck tag is no big deal, but the other deal is that
I thought you just couldn't be married to your little sister to have that.
apparently that's still okay.
You're thinking West Virginia,
yeah.
Crosby.
The
Oh, sorry, wrong state.
but it's so bad here that if you like, I mean, it's well known. Like, if I was towing my big trailer with a couple of cars on it that I just bought somewhere, and I pull into the state with them, I need to have actual paperwork, titles, everything on me, or they're going to nail me as soon as I cross the border. It is all the time deal here.
Yep.
Everybody talks about it. And the CDL, like, the reason not to get a CDL, so if people want to know that too, excuse me, there's a couple of reasons. One of the things that you hear people say all the time is, and this isn't an excuse to drink and drive, but if you have a CDL and you blow anything on whether you're driving your vehicle that requires a CDL or not, you're getting a DUI. So that's one thing. Your insurance is way higher in Texas, and it's already crazy high here for car insurance. Double California, so it's already ridiculous. So it's way too much. And then the other deal is that the fines all go up. So if you were to get a speeding ticket, even if you're in your regular pickup truck for 10 over, let's say, the fine is different if you have a CDL than if you don't. Or at least those are the things I've been told.
California's double. California's double points.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yep.
And
So-
also mechanics are kind of fall under, not totally underneath that, but partially. I mean, some of those same laws apply to mechanics.
Yep. And
Some of the
I haven't
things
had a
that I learned-
CDL in years, but Trent, you've had a CDL for decades.
Yeah, I got mine when all you had to do is walk down and grandfathered in. So
Yeah.
I've had mine that long. One of the misconceptions is that, and even the race car side of it, I had a very long talk with a wonderful gentleman down in Huntsville, Alabama. The fact that you haul a race car, if there's any sponsorship involved with that race car, like someone gives you money to or parts, it doesn't have to be cash, anything.
It's commercial.
Then that is a commercial enterprise. If your race car trailer or your tow rig is in ABC Racing so that you can write it off on your taxes, you now are required to have a CDL.
Yep.
So, you have to walk that fine line. And even though it's a toter home, it doesn't matter. That RV thing, that's gone. I mean,
and the other thing a lot of people don't know is if you haul alcoholic beverages, whether they were bought legally or not, across state lines, that is a huge problem.
$500 a can.
How much is it now?
$500 a can, and if there's whiskey involved, it's a whole nother thing.
Yep.
Well, your stepson, one time, I won't mention his actual name, but I got to Del Mar with the 48-foot trailer, and he's digging around in the front of the gooseneck, and he comes out with this cardboard box, and I'm like, and he's got this big old shit-eating grin on his face. It was 12 quarts of apple.
White Lightning. Wow. Yeah.
Yep. That's
I
a whole
was
nother. That's
I was fit to be freaking tied.
Great
Yep.
guess.
That was one of them
Great
ones where Brett grabbed me by the shirt collar and was holding me back. I don't know if I was going to kick his ass, but I was going to try.
Well,
Yeah,
and it's
they,
funny you say that though, because the you know, I spend a lot of time obviously with big race teams, and these guys, uh, it's funny some of the things that they do in order to make sure that they're not going to have issues. Like
Right.
they're hauling nitromethane is a big deal. Okay. And so some of these teams get creative on where they may or may not stow an extra barrel or two,
Mhm.
because they're not allowed to carry that much or what have you. And, you know,
It's not
and
worth it.
well, I know some teams that have ice cream freezers.
Oh, I know.
And but
I've
underneath the
seen
ice
about
cream is
everything
all
you
the
think of.
booze, you know. I mean, yeah. So, you know, you got to watch out for some of that stuff. And the reality is this: the average highway patrolman is not after me or Crosby, or McTaggart or Wickman. You know, they're going after Trent because Trent is a commercial enterprise. But if one of them is having a bad day and pulls me over and I'm a pain in the ass and they don't like what they see, they can absolutely throw the book at me, you know. And I have
And
personally
why
been
give
on
them a
the end of,
reason?
and I've been on the end of having to get somebody else to pay somebody to haul your junk back out of the state of New Mexico into Texas because they didn't
I got flown into
agree
El
with me on the
Paso to
rating.
pick up one of my friend's trucks and take it on up to Indy one year because his driver decided to be a loudmouth over. I can't. It started out as a taillight violation, and then it turned out he had a cooler full of beer sitting inside the trailer door,
Oh,
and he argued so hard they red tagged the thing and made me fly in to get it.
oh.
Yep.
And they can do that over the dumbest little thing if they really want to. And it doesn't matter whether it's right or wrong. It's just the reality. So,
Some things are
man, just
just
be
not worth
nice.
arguing about. Take the freaking ticket.
Yes, and go.
well, it's
And
all the guys that try to beat the system though on that deal.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
you got a triple axle trailer. You're pulling it with an F-350. You're over 21,000 because they go with the GVW on the tags. It don't matter how
Right.
much weight you have in it. It's what those
Right.
tags say.
Yep.
Correct.
And I know
Yes.
guys that they run around scales 500 miles, so they don't have to go through that scale. And
Yep.
I've been let out of more tickets because I just said okay. I got pulled over in Oklahoma one time in TCI setup, and the guy picked out of the crowd because I was the only one with a California plate, and I know it.
Oh yeah.
And he was expecting me to be a jackass from the get-go. I handed him all the paperwork, and he goes, "You know how fast you're going?" I go 70, and he goes, "Nope, you're going 72." And it's no compromise on the speed.
Yeah.
So I just said, "Okay, if you say I was, I was." And he goes, "You ain't gonna argue with it?" Nope. He goes, "I'm gonna write you a warning, but this is a double-edged sword. If you get pulled over again, you're getting 2 tickets."
2 tickets. Yep.
But I got off with a warning. That thing was at 65 miles an hour the rest of the day.
Well, I've just learned over the years, man, it is so much easier to run it right than it is to try to be all sketchy about it.
Yep.
So,
Well, and I think that goes for everything we've talked about tonight, right?
right.
So it doesn't matter whether it's the straps that are holding your pride and joy on, whether it's the ramps you're using, whether it's the hitch you've got, whether it's the truck you're towing it with, any of those things. Just do the right stuff and you're going to have a more enjoyable and successful trip. And that goes for everything. Because quite frankly, the other thing is if you're going down the road with the sketchiest looking tie downs in history, that's also just getting the cop's attention, right? The 30 feet of strap going back there caught his attention. What he pulled you over for then was the tail light that wasn't working.
Yep. And the other thing is, make sure your shit's clean. How many trucks get pulled into the scale house just because the wheels are dirty?
Oh, yeah.
Because they think they're not taking care of their stuff. So that's the first guy they're looking at.
That also can hurt you too, because I've been pulled in for inspection because the guy didn't want to get dirty. Because he says his marketing rigs are always clean. I don't get dirty when I climb around under them.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I like that. That's funny.
Yeah, but it keeps him busy for a minute. He gives you some stupid ticket at worst, and you roll down the road.
Right.
Yeah, I've never ever been jacked up in those deals. You just keep your mouth shut and give them the paperwork they want, and they do their deal and sign your deal, and away you go.
Yeah,
it's just all the little things you learn from them. You know, like if you see a guy that's got a DOT tag on the front of his trailer, those little deals where they chop the corners off of the inspection deal. So if you see one where it's on crooked, that means you were an asshole to the guy whenever he gave you your inspection. So it's kind of a universal thing all throughout the day.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yep.
So then any of the other DOT guys see that crooked and they know, oh, this guy's a jerk.
Yeah, I used to take care of all that stuff for good guys. And so the guy that took care of that stuff was out of the Northern California or whatever, the San Francisco area up there.
Yeah.
He came in there one day and I said, hey, and he was a super nice guy. And he's a big hot rod guy and whatnot. And I said, hey, man, answer me a couple of questions like that. So I asked him some other stuff. And I said, is there any truth to that crooked DOT inspection tag? And he looked at me and he smiled and goes, absolutely. He said, if you treat one of my fellow brethren shitty somewhere, by God, we're going to universally make sure that you get treated shitty. And I was like,
that's awesome.
I know. So, just a little.
I like that.
And you ain't going.
I never knew that was a thing. That's the first time I heard about that.
I love that.
Like I said, there's all those myths and rumors. So when you have the opportunity, you ask the guys, like, "Hey, is this bullshit or what?" Nope, it's true. All right, now you know.
I like that. Yeah. Now I know what to look for too.
Right?
That set somebody up.
That dude.
That's great.
That's may or may not have a few people I want to take a heat gun over to their truck.
I was going to say, I am right now making a list.
Man, if I could get a hold of some of them, could we have some fun?
Oh, God. So I have the ability to make new stickers. I'm just saying.
Oh. Wouldn't be admitting that if I were you.
Do what?
Say that.
I wouldn't be admitting that if I were you.
Yeah, right? Yeah, good point.
He didn't name anybody.
Okay, so last topic before we call it quits. We were talking about sketchy, weird things we've seen, but we're going to talk about this last thing: air ride equipped vehicles.
Oh shit!
Haul them aired up or laid out? What do you think?
Haul them at ride height. Air them up, get straps on, put them at ride height, unless you don't own one that won't leak out. But ride them at ride height. Let that air spring do its deal.
That's what I do too.
Yep.
But me and Crosby talked about it, about people that tow them aired out. And then people that tow them the other way, fully aired up all the way as well. It's like, oh my God.
I've heard of guys that they don't air them out. They'll put like 2x4s underneath the frame rails for some reason and have them, and then strap them down.
Me and Crosby talked about that, and there is a time when I would do that if I was sending something cross country and I wasn't going to be with it or whatever, and I didn't know, then I may do something like that. But in general, I'm with Trent. Ride height is where I go. Now, I am also the guy that, not always, but typically when I can, I am connecting my straps to the chassis and pulling the car down as opposed to the suspension. And I know that it depends on what you're hauling and why, and there's good and there's bad on both sides of that. For me, that's what I typically do because I like to get the bounce out of the thing. But Just depends
But
on what it
if
is.
you take the balance of the car, the movement of the chassis, or whatever you want to call it, and
Yeah.
the movement of the trailer, depending on how good your trailer rides, especially something like what Trent's towing right now, that car doesn't move. You can leave a Coke can, not that Trent would, and we all
Yeah.
know it, on the countertop, and it'll be in the same place
Yeah.
when you get to where you are going,
Now
because that
I'll admit,
trailer inside does not move.
even my 2-axle Carson little 16-foot
Mhm.
trailer, like Dad has left a cup of coffee on the front of the trailer, and we've driven it across town, and the coffee is still in the mug, and little or no that got spilled out of it going down the road. They if good trailers go down the road pretty smooth, unless you get into big dippy stuff. That's where it gets sketchy, and that just depends on the road.
Generally, if you tie them down to the suspension, and most of this air ride stuff that Trent and I have hauled, I don't know about the rest of you, but they don't leak. We
No, my shit
pretty
don't
Well,
much
leak
if
either.
they're
everything.
it won't leak.
If they leak, there's something wrong,
Oh yeah.
because we know how to seal them up. But I like to have them at ride height if I'm towing them,
Exactly.
just
I
where they normally ride.
like if I'm hauling a drag car or whatever, I'd like to tie them down by the chassis, and or also back the shocks all the way off, so that you're
Well,
not
most of the
packing the
drag
shock
cars
going down
I've
the road.
hauled are rigid chassis or dragsters or punch
Yeah, like
cars.
dragsters or roadsters.
So
Yep.
there's pads underneath the chassis
Yep.
to keep the flex out of it and stuff like that. I mean, you're just obligated tying it down solid.
And
Most
you
of
know
your
what
high-end
though?
door cars, they're putting high-end shock packages on them things now, and so a
Yep.
lot of those guys are pulling those shocks and putting struts on them. So,
Yep.
with.
Yep.
Yeah, even
And
the
we
dirt
also
late,
make a
dirt
deal
late
too
metal
for the
guys are doing
drag
that.
Yeah, they'll pull a set of Penske's off and
Exactly. Well, everybody figured out
say it again.
absorber is key to everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And you're right. You take the shock off to go down the
So, like, you
road.
got
They
the
put a
door
set of
flicks.
crap, quote unquote, shocks on it, or a solid strut, and go to town.
I'm not for putting a solid strut on the car, because that
It
puts a
depends on
lot.
the car because it's hard on the shock mounts.
Yeah. And if it's a
Yeah.
Molly chassis, it just work hardens the heck out of them.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're hauling a door car and you're running slicks, most generally, like, there's a certain brand out there that air out really bad once they are cool, and there's a couple out there that very seldom air out. But we make a chassis bladder you throw up underneath that thing, so that way when your slicks do air out on a long trip, then that way you don't get slack in your tie down.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And I'm a fan of using a bladder even on a car that does have suspension. Like that wouldn't, if I had a high end, like if I was pulling a Pro Mod car or any of that, 100%. Like, because there's no downside to supporting it extra at all.
I've made a bunch of airbags that go underneath the cross members for door cars.
A lot of those to air ride guys.
That happened to Street Outlaws Doc a number of years ago. He was going to, I think he was going to Ohio for a no prep race, and the Monte Carlo and his smart car came loose in the trailer, and they were on the elevated lift, and the smart car was actually in between the ramps, like pointed down.
Oh, I remember that.
And
yeah,
the Monte came loose and like banged off the side of the trailer or something like that.
Yeah.
I am dumbfounded by the number of guys with stacker trailers who put the race car up when they don't have anything else under it. Like, physics says that's a bad idea. Okay? Like,
keep the weight
down low. Shit should be on the bottom. Yes. So I've never understood that. Like, or guys that have like a golf cart and this and that, and they put the golf cart and stuff underneath, and I would put the golf cart up top. Like, I would put the light stuff up top, the important stuff down below. Like, that's just.
I understand having your runaround car down low, because when you get to where you're going, you just back it out. You don't have to unload everything out of the trailer.
If it's a real car, yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But if it's a smart car or something, I'd put it up top.
Crosby
Yeah.
may be able to add a little bit more to this. I know early 2000s, Steve Nielsen of Altered Images, he had a stacker trailer that was an open trailer, and it was like maybe 20 feet long, maybe.
No, it was long. It was like 24, 26. It was
But with the
longer.
Pro Street
It just
Blazer-
looked short.
Yeah, with the
Right,
Pro
'cause
Street
it's
Blazer
tall.
and the mini truck, I mean, it just seemed to me, it seemed really sketchy that short of a much height is just basically like up here, and you got this, and again, physics.
Yeah,
plays.
that whole setup was sketchy anyway. But that's
Some
a
of the stackers that are getting pulled behind toter homes are only 28 feet long. I mean, some of them are not, like a 28 foot is not an uncommon length for a stacker.
You
I mean,
could
a lot of
not-
guys have bigger, but
You
that,
could
they
not
really
pay
are tall
me
and skinny.
to tow a tag stacker ever again. Could not pay me enough
That's what
money.
all those
I
dirt
would
late model
do it.
guys.
I would do it with a toter home if it was the right toter, but I would prefer a gooseneck or a mini fifth wheel.
I
The
don't
mini
like
fifth wheel is pretty cool, little setup. But only T&E and one other company are the only ones that do the mini fifth wheel. But
I don't like stackers as it is. Number one, they're usually too short for the height, and they
Yeah.
just want to just roll that outside corner over, and the tag just makes it that much worse.
yeah,
You can't keep anything tight in them either because of the way they're built. Because they put all the stinger rams are mounted in the wall, so it goes
Yeah.
down the road and it does this, and it bucks. So we've developed a few things for the stacker guys to keep them straight and keep them tight. Oh yeah, that's my number one at PRI. That's our number one. Hey, I bought a stacker and my shit never stays tight. So we built some stuff to kind of keep those guys in check or help them out anyway. But yeah, the stacker deal, like you could have a whole episode on those godforsaken things.
Well, the other one that you could have a whole episode on is the trend now of this one right here. And Crosby and I have talked about this a bunch of times. This trend of, I want to drive my car in the trailer, so let's make a door in the side of it. And then we wonder why this son of a bitch flexes all over the place. I don't understand this. Like, I own a winch. Like, I just pull the damn car to the end and winch it in the trailer. I don't get why people think they want to drive in and then their fat ass climb out of the, like, why? I don't understand. That is like a $2,000 option that makes your trailer weak. And
they can't understand why they
$200,
get.
I can put a winch in it.
Are we sure the door isn't just for the owner?
That's it. It's for the owner to get out of the car after they have driven it into the trailer. That's 100% why.
My personal favorite over and above that door is the guy rolling down the road, and by far the stupidest people ever involved on this planet towing anything is the one with the big plexiglass window in the side of their trailer to show everybody what they're dragging around.
Yep.
Almost this is what you can steal.
Exactly. Almost as dumb as the guy that has the whole picture of his car on the side. Yeah.
Oh, that's almost as good.
But yeah, Finnegan swears up and down by that side hatch to get in and out of his car.
Consider the source.
I know, and I've told him he's an idiot too. So I love him to death. But use the winch, dude. The other thing, like, this is, there's.
I don't know why Finnegan would need the door anyway. At the end of the day, the car's not running.
Yeah, he's got to winch it in anyway. That was tough, but true. So if I can give one other piece of advice to people that have enclosed trailers in particular, you need to get your vinyl graphic guy to get you either a symbol or a number that is big enough to see it from a helicopter, and you put it on the roof of your trailer. 100%. It's why school buses all have numbers on the roof, is because that way if a school bus full of kids gets, hijacked, they can follow and find the school bus. If
Let
you
me
put
tell
a
you.
number on top of your white trailer, then if it's stolen, they can
Yep.
at least, if the traffic helicopter is up there, at least identify it, or put a big, dick and balls on it, or a middle finger, or whatever, but put something on it
You
so
know
that
what I
people
would put
can
on
see it.
there? I would
What?
put the trailer tag number on top of the trailer.
Nothing wrong with that either. I like
Yep.
where your head's at there, Rickman.
What was the
I
name
thought
of
you were
that?
going to say something about little hands, but hey, there you
I
go.
put GPS trackers and everything too.
Absolutely.
You
They're
bury a GPS
inexpensive.
tracker. I put one in this one, and the battery's good for 2 years.
Yep.
So, and the other way that you can find it is if you can find a way to scan for it. And I don't know that there's a way that you can scan for a GPS tracker yet.
That's where those the air tags are bad, because you can just run
Right.
a iPhone past the thing and find
Yep.
it.
Right. Now,
A
this is
lot of
not.
people think that's great, but it is, but it isn't.
Nope.
Right.
Maybe we can
An
get Tom
air
Bailey
tag
on to
is
talk about
only
GPS trackers.
do what?
Maybe we can get Tom Bailey on to talk about GPS trackers.
Yes.
Too
That was
soon?
cold.
Too
And I was
Well,
soon.
being
you'd
mean
think
to
he would have
Finnegan,
learned. He's had more shit stolen than anybody else.
Yeah.
and I was
Yeah.
being mean to Finnegan.
I know.
You
Bailey
guys are
deserves it
well.
more.
Uh,
All right, boys and girls. Well, I appreciate you guys on tonight. I hope that people learned a few things and listened to some stuff. Ray Shannon says, I'm poor. I have an open trailer here. Hey, me too. I own 2 open trailers. It's still,
I
if you
sell
love your
straps
trailer,
for
put a
those.
GPS unit in it. And you still need straps. Exactly.
Right.
Yep. Well, I got to get a new set of straps from you, Trent, because my old set, when Josh's trailer got stolen, both sets of our straps were in there.
Oh,
So, and those are the ones I bought from Colin, what, 12 years ago? 12 or 13 years ago? Took
Man.
care of them in the bag. It's clean. Somebody got a
yeah.
nice set of straps.
I was
Yeah.
going to say, the guy that stole them, he really appreciates you taking care of those.
I bet he does.
I
Yeah.
actually want to do, I need to get another set for my big trailer because I only have one set. But I also, I want to do like I'm going to use the term restoration, but let's call it a refresh of my open trailer. I want to do a fresh paint job on it, add some different tie downs, do all that kind of stuff, and show, because literally my trailer, we got them in 1996, I think. So
It's
I'm,
time. It's
Didn't
time.
you
yeah.
refresh that trailer like
Oh,
10 years ago?
I did. Absolutely. I've redone it several times, and it's because it's so good. Like, you can't throw it away. I mean, and you're never going to get another one. Like, if you buy a new one, it's just going to cost you more money and not be any better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. It's a
Well,
good
you ain't got
trailer.
nothing
We
else going
maintain
on,
them.
so get on that.
Shit. Yeah, exactly. But I think that there's a lot of people out there that have mediocre or good towing, but they just need some love kind of trailers, and then they don't want to spend money on them, or can't afford to go get a new one. And it wouldn't take that much to actually, refresh the thing and have it
Yeah.
look good and be more useful, So,
Well, you know what it is. They've never broke down. We all have broke down at 2:00 in the morning in western Nebraska, and
yes,
the closest anything is tomorrow morning. So
yes,
that's never happened to them, or they would make sure that shit was right. So
that's
Miami,
true.
Oklahoma, with bugs about that big
Oh,
at
dude.
10 o'clock at night.
And you know how you know when you're not from Miami, Oklahoma? When you say Miami, Oklahoma, because it's Miami if you're
I
there.
know.
Yeah, because they also don't speak English, just like people in Texas.
Yep.
oh,
The funny thing is, you go 100 yards into Miami, you're in Kansas anyway, so it don't matter.
Lycan is asking what the name of the strap company we're talking about is. It is Max Custom Tie Downs. Max, MACS. Well,
Yeah.
MAC apostrophe S.
apostrophe S. Yes.
Yeah. So it's Max Custom Tie Downs. I believe it's maxtiedowns.com, right?
MaxCustomTieDowns.com. Yes.
Yeah. So, like, and if you guys need stuff, and also we're talking about stuff to tie down cars. They have bigger and smaller straps, so you can get small straps that are more the utility style that you would tie a motorcycle down with, or any of that stuff too. They make all different kinds, and if you want anything custom, that's a phone call away. They're easy on that stuff.
Henceforth Custom. We'll build you anything you need. Dream up. We build a lot of tie downs for display houses, for guys that have odd shaped shit that they can't figure out how to tie down. So
right,
we do it all, even airplanes. So
yeah, that's awesome.
yep, we got it all.
Well, thanks for coming on tonight, Trent. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. It was fun. Yeah, it was fun having you on here. Tell everybody we said hello. And yeah, and it was cool. Definitely getting to hang out.
All right,
yeah, it's been a while.
It has. Be safe, all. We'll see you at the next one on the Midway.
All right, get some rest.
Sounds good.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, dude. All right, boys. Appreciate you guys.
Yep.
That is the biggest damn cat. Is that one Dozer? Is that Dozer?
Yes.
Yeah. And he is like I mean, look at that thing.
How much does he weigh, McTaggart?
About 25.
Damn.
He is a big, giant cat. Like, when you see him in person, he is massive.
What the hell you got there?
Yeah, Wickman? What is that, Wickman?
Okay. This is like out of the box. This is
no, that is a box.
One of those stupid rare pieces.
Okay. David Franklin, I'll answer that question in a minute. Hold on one second while we look and see what the hell Wickman is doing. Hot Wheels.
Okay, this is a Hot Wheel, but look at it. Does it say Hot Wheels?
No, it does not. Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yes.
Not Wheels.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Where are those from?
The internet.
The internet.
That from the dark web or what?
Yeah.
Almost.
All right.
It's actually endorsed by Mattel, believe it or not.
Oh, nice. All right, David Franklin, is it better to cross straps? So according to all of the testing, there actually is no difference cross straps or straight straps as far as its ability to hold the car still and from moving around. With that said, if you did have a strap failure or one loosen up and you have them crossed, the one that is tight will tend to then pull the car or the vehicle over that direction. So I've always been a cross the straps guy, but you don't really need to do that.
I as well. And I've only had one car come loose, and I didn't tie it down. My so-called partner at the time did. And it was my fault because I trusted him to tie said car down.
Right.
And that's where my dumb ass failed. But I've always crossed them. It's just the way I was taught and the way I've always done it. And I'm not going to change it now.
No, exactly.
But
I check every time I stop. I check straps.
Oh, me too. Every
time. I've hauled 20 motorcycles across country in a 48-foot trailer. So, and we checked every strap every time I stopped.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I've
hauled a lot of my own stuff and a lot of other people's stuff, and I always check. David's asking, what kind of bladder do you recommend? There are a bunch of them, and the reality is, use the one that best fits under your car. So if it's a chassis car, like if it was a dragster, then one of the round, circles that are yay big is probably enough. But it depends on the car, because you need the bladder to sit somewhere where it's actually going to push on something, whether it's a cross member or a series of tubes or what have you. It really depends on what it is you're hauling.
If it's a dragster, outer rail, and a cross member, you want it on the T.
Yes.
What I used on our top gas car before everybody made all this shit was keg pads. Where
Oh,
the
yeah.
guys that throw the kegs out of the truck, lay
Yep.
them on the ground, and then bounce off that. That's
Yep.
what I used underneath the car.
I'll be darned. That's a good idea.
Mhm.
Yeah. There are a ton of companies that sell bladders.
Yeah.
Max carries some, but you can find them on Summit, Jags, everywhere too. So, and they have a variety of sizes and styles now. It used to be that there were one or two kinds. Now there's a bunch of different ones. So, just check them out. You'll be able to find some stuff.
What about an inflatable kiddie pool?
Yes, that's absolutely approved. 100%. Yes.
Okay.
For any of your stuff.
Mike.
Yeah, this is the guy who's lifting his truck up with inflating whammo footballs into the springs. So
Yeah. Yeah.
not,
All right,
not
boys.
even the good ones. Wilson. Oh,
Yeah, exactly. Ray Shannon says he has 20,000 Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars.
Too many.
I would sell all that shit.
they make
and
drugs
buy-
that cure that shit.
Yeah, exactly. I would sell all that because that has to be enough to build a really cool car.
Yeah.
Just
Unless
saying.
you take too many like Wickham, and it just gets worse.
Yeah, that's true.
I just enjoy cutting them up.
Drugs,
I'm
we're
actually
talking
going
about.
to be starting an eBay store this winter.
You are?
Yes, just for all these Hot Wheels and customs that I've been making. So,
Oh, yeah.
so enough. I've got to pay for Mega Week somehow next year. So,
That reminds me, Wickham, you need to send me your info so I can send you two to get customized.
okay.
If you want a custom Hot Wheels that matches your ride or just something you're dreaming of, Wickman is your dude. He customizes the hell out of little Hot Wheels. It's pretty cool. So, how can they get you, Wickman, if they want to do it?
Hit me up the best. You can look at some stuff I've done, stuff in progress on Instagram at Charles W Pix. On
Yeah,
Instagram.
Charles W. Pix.
Yes.
Raise your right hand up there, Wickman. Oh, you don't have
he
it
took
on.
it off. Yeah.
I thought that was a cast.
No, it's like a soft cast brace thing.
Oh, I
But
thought it
you
was a
know-
cast. I was going to say he has a whole much more free time since he had his
Yeah.
hand casted.
You notice how that's just kind of like floppy.
Yeah. Why is that doing that?
I made McTaggart's night.
I know. What are you doing?
There used to be a bone in there.
Yeah.
That bone is gone.
Okay. Hold on. Did Wickham just say that there used to be a bone in his hand? I swear to God, that's what I heard. Am I right, McTaggart? Is that what it is?
Yeah, you heard it.
Okay, just making sure. Just making sure. Where is your wife at right now? She normally would be laughing with us at you right now. Oh my God.
She is watching dirt late model racing right now on television.
Oh my
She'd
God.
probably say there's no way it reaches to that side of his hand.
Oh my God.
But
Okay.
Yep.
Lycan
right.
says he just laughed as hard as Crosby did. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Look at McTaggart's face.
I'm pulling the plug. Yeah.
Before you roll, Chad, one question, one serious one.
Yes.
You still heading out to here this week?
Yeah. Nobody is otherwise. So yeah.
oh,
It's supposed
speaking of which, give me a picture of Bigfoot 5, would you?
sure. If they take it out of the trailer
Yeah,
during the
it comes
hurricane.
out. That's a big question right now. We'll see.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. It's supposed to rain. I forgot about that.
Mhm.
The whole weekend. But
We'll see.
I get on a plane in approximately 22 hours. So
Okay.
we'll see.
I have fun with
All right,
that.
gentlemen. I use the term loosely. As always, thank you for whatever it is you bring to the table, depending on the week.
Go put a bone in your hand.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm too tired for that.
Hey, Ralphie.
You are getting older.
I am. It's true. All right, boys and girls. Thank you so much. Everybody that watched tonight, we appreciate you guys. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. if you have a topic you'd like us to talk about, especially if it involves bitching at people, we're in. So let us know what you would like us to talk about, and we'll do it.
Well, we'll do it partially, and then we'll go off on some random tangent. So
Yep.
It'll be entertaining
I
either
didn't
way.
say we
It'll be
would the
fun.
whole show. I just said we would,
We'll
and
start.
then yeah,
That's just
exactly.
be the
Girl.
topic. Random tangent. Just call it
Yes, that's
we just
maybe
need to
that's
do a
what.
whole show on squirrels and disco balls.
Shit, it's
Hmm.
a story of my life.
Anyways.
Squirrels,
All right.
disco balls.
Yeah.
that. We got some dirt track racing to go watch.
Goodbye, all.
Good night.
See ya.
Weirdos.
Yep.